happened in Lagos, and it happened in 2022. VI, to be precise, checking point. So my office used to be at Ajola Odeko, and I would usually stop at checking point before taking a taxi that would take me to Ajola Odeko Street, right? And on that day at around 11 a.m., I was heading to the office and on a call with my best friend. So when this taxi stopped and I boarded him, I told my friend, I'll call you back once I get to the office, right? So in this vehicle was an elderly man with me at the back seat, and the driver and another man, maybe around 30 to 40 years of age, in front, right? He was seated in front with the driver, and we had just barely moved when the elderly man was like he was going to alight at the next bus stop, and this conversation started between them. The driver was like, and then the elderly man was like, I'm alighting at the next bus stop, and I have my load in your boots, just so you know, right? And the driver now started this conversation. They started this conversation. It was now like, now you get the load for boots. The babana said yes. And I said, so now you get the dollars we pull that bag. Waiting you they use that kind of dollars do. The baba was that like, why you go look my bag? Like, why you look my bag? And the driver was not like, I don't look your bag. You remember that time where those market women drop, where them get tomato for my boots? As I go help them bring the tomato down, now we see the money, but we don't know which of ona get and where we know talk. But now I don't know, say now you get them, I will carry you go police station. The baba now say, no need for that. Make we share the money. I go give you your own cut. Driver was not like, we're not go fish share for here. You go follow me, go my pack, our union. Say what now? All of these conversations were going on, and I was listening to them. And I had previously watched a movie Aki and Popo acted some few days back, and this exact scenario was what played out in the movie, and I'm now reliving it. So it was more like a deja vu. I was like, okay, I recognize this tactics from the movie that I watched. So the first thing I did was I never involved myself in their conversation. When it got to that point where, oh yeah, we did drive go our union, whatever, pack or whatever, so we can share the money, I just said, stop. And this man stopped. I opened the door and I got down. Immediately I got down. They didn't say anything. They just shut the door. The baba at the back shut the door, and off they went. They zoomed off immediately. I stood there with this intense shock. I was shocked. I was like, what just happened? As well as I knew what was happening, and I understood what was going on, I was still shocked. And then in my head, I was now playing all the different things that would have gone wrong if I had not known what to do the next minute. If I had not recognized what these persons were up to and had taken the action that I did. Was it going to be robbery? Was it going to be kidnap? What was it going to be? I didn't even know. I was just too shocked that I stood there and I cried. And then the next thing I called my best friend, I was like, see, you cannot be. She was like, are you at the office? I was like, no. She was like, are you at the office? That was so fast. I was like, no, I am not at the office. I'm even barely away from where I boarded the vehicle. And she was like, what happened? She heard me crying and she was like, what happened? I was like, I just escaped another one chance. I stood there and I kept telling God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because after that incident, when I came online and I typed my scenario on Google, I started seeing other people narrating their stories of the same tactics. Now, just imagine that I did not know or recognize these tactics. A lot of things would have gone wrong, because I saw online other persons narrating how far they went. Some of them, they stole from them, they were jars. Some of them, they just know that they recognized themselves or they knew themselves far away from wherever, their city or something. And I'm like, I just started telling God, thank you. It was God, and it was also the fact that I had previously had an idea of that particular tactics. There are so many other tactics out there, and I believe that as you've heard my own story, you would be able to know when you see such tactics being played out, right? And I also want to use this opportunity to encourage other victims. Come out, tell your story. You can send me a message on any of the platforms any of my platforms, Facebook, Instagram, anyone. Send me a message with your story and I will tell your story. I will tell your incident so that other people will learn from your experience and not be victims like you were. These are things that I think you can do to further up your security game, right? For example, you order a vehicle, let your driver know that you have shared that trip. Let them know, my reason is this. They will, if they have any bad intention, they will not want to go ahead, because they know that that trip is being recorded by someone, is being monitored by someone else. Avoid offline trips this period. See, for any reason that anybody is selling offline trip to you, please do not accept it. There are two things that happen here: your safety, and also you're cheating the creators of that app. Because once you go offline, creators cannot take their own cut anymore, because they will assume that the trip never happened. And then I share not just my trip, but also my current location to my family. I don't know why I do that. For the longest time, even when I'm not using e-hailing apps, if I'm going out and I just feel like it, I just share my live location with my brother. I share with someone, like I just share my live locations. I just feel this sense of extra security, or there's this sense of, oh, someone else knows where I am, and I'm not saying anything is going to happen to me or anything, but it just makes me feel safer that someone else knows that I'm in this place, right? Also, it is advisable that you lock your SIM card. What happens when you lock your SIM card? If you turn off your phone and you turn it on, it will require a code for you to input before you can now use the SIM card. The phone will work. If you remove the SIM card, the phone will work perfectly well. But if you put the SIM card, you cannot use that SIM card to make calls. You cannot use that SIM card for any. Never use pins like your birthday, your birthday. It is very easy for anybody to decode. Looking at you, they can tell the age range, and then they'll start trying multiple passwords around that. So avoid that. Why not use password, random numbers that you can just formulate and put in, just memorize them and make sure you don't forget, right?